Alright, so to fix the stud that broke off the engine, I'm going to put some JB weld on it. And the way you want to do this, you want to get equal parts of both. You use the cap to about the top. Looking more into that. Half. You want to make sure that you've got equal parts of each as best you can. I'm just going to use some of this to mix it up. It up real good. It'll turn to like a grayish color. There is a rapid set one, but I'm gonna let this set overnight and for most of the day tomorrow, because the other parts are not gonna get here till tomorrow, and I'll work on those when they get here. So for now, since this is gonna take a while to set up, I'm gonna do this. I'm going to do is see how this piece orientates on there, and it fits on there just about where it needs to go anyways. So I'll take a little bit, just put it right on the edges, because I don't really want it to seep back into the threaded area. So I'll put a little bit on the edges and my fingers apparently. That back on there where it needs to be. If I can figure out where that was. So there we go. Just about like that. And that's on there pretty good. So then I'll just take the rest of this here. Scoop it. Spread it around the edge like that. Holding it in place with my finger because I don't want it to move, because if it moves, the screws might not quite line up right. And that's going to be a pain in the butt if this holds as well as I hope it does. So, yeah. Good God, stuff right there. Trying my best to move it around. Doesn't really need to be pretty. Matter of fact, I'm getting this all over my hands, which is not great, but whatever. Hopefully there's no issue with that. Guess we'll find out. And then, again, just trying to get it on the back as good as I can. And just for grins, I'm just going to do that there. Make sure. So, we'll let that set up, and we'll see how that holds. Hopefully, this stuff does the trick, and we have a good bond and no further issues. But again, time will tell. So there is a little bit on the top that I'm going to go ahead and get a paper towel and wipe off, because I want this to sit flush. But we'll check in tomorrow. Alright, so I got all my parts and pieces in. Went ahead and test fit this on there, just set it on loosely, and started to tighten the screws in to see if it fits. And what I found is actually that the screw up front here does not go in. It goes in about a turn, and that's it. So what I'm going to have to do is check and see, first of all, if the bolt broke off, because those are the two where they were missing bolts. And no, there's no bolt broken off in there. You just shove a screwdriver through, and yeah. So what I'm going to do then is go from the back side with a bolt and check it. It seems to thread pretty good from there. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Seems to thread in from the back side, so yeah. Only until about there. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab me a wrench that I can get this with, because I don't think the socket, nope, socket's not going to fit on there. So I'm going to grab a wrench and we'll see if I can tighten that down, and hopefully that'll kind of help rethread the front portion of it. I'm thinking what probably happened is with the vibrations and that backing itself out, when it got loose and snapped off, it probably janked up the front a little bit. And I'm also going to go ahead and remove this intake. It's going to make things a little more accessible, and also a lot easier to put the belt on. Alright, so got the wrench. So we're just gonna, actually, let's see, is this gonna fit? Nope. Worth a shot. So this will take a minute. Alright, I think that got it. Alrighty, so go ahead and get this guy put back on there. Tighten it down. And I'm going to start with this one in the back here that I did the easy weld with, just in case something is a little hair off. It should be good. So we'll get that one started. Throw this guy back here. And I got some new ones for the front. Guy still does not quite want to go in there, which I'm not so sure about, but it's supposed to fit. This one's going in fine. This guy just wants to be stubborn. So we'll make sure that the threads are right on it, which it feels like they are because I'm able to tighten up my hand pretty good, and then we'll do that number with them. So this one is normally put on without this here, so I could pull this off. But I think what I'm going to do is take the pulley off, because with these coming out, I'm going to put Loctite on these as well, a little dab of it. So I'm going to pull these off eventually. I might as well pull this one off now. And that should give me enough room to turn this bolt. Let's take a look. It's going to be slow going, but yeah, that'll work. So now that I got all four of these loosely in there, with the exception of that one that was cross-thread or stripped or whatever, go ahead and back them out one at a time. Put a dab of Loctite on them to make sure that they don't back out after they're in there, so they don't have this problem again. Probably was my own fault because I rebuilt this engine about a year ago. But yeah, not gonna let that happen again. So got the Loctite blue. If you use the Loctite red, you're never gonna get the bolts back off. So go with the Loctite blue. So yeah, just gonna do a little dab of it on there. It actually came out a lot more liquidy than I thought, so that was a lot more than a little dab, but it is what it is. Tighten that in as much as I can by hand, because I know once I have to start doing this, it's going to go a lot slower. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now for the next one, which I'm going to do kind of catty-cornered. Let's see if I can do a better job on this one. Here we go. Again, I'm just going to get that as much as I can by hand first, and then I'll throw the wrench on it. And that's on there. Good. So now I'm going to go ahead and do this one right here, the other front one, because quite frankly the cross thread has me not feeling so good about this one. But we'll get it there. And actually that's going pretty smooth now, so that's a good sign. Anyway. Alright, last but not least, alright, so the next step in this process is going to be putting this idle tensioner on there. It's got a little notch on the top there that's going to fit right in there. And we just got to get this in there. Okay. Good on that one. So if you buy one of these, it comes with this little pin in here, so that you can put this together without having the tension on it, I guess, or with making sure that the spring stays with tension. So you just put a little pressure on there, you can pull the pin out, and yeah, it rolls itself right back into position. I suppose, technically, now that I'm thinking about it, I could also probably use that to stay that way. And it'll help as I put the belt on. So I'm going to do that. Let's see, from here I'm going to go ahead and put this pulley on, take this pulley off, put a little bit of Loctite on them. Make sure that these don't back off like everything else seems to be. Oh, that one was on there a little bit better than the last one. Alright, alternator time. Pretty snug fit on there. Okay. Alright. Get one of these started. These I'm not going to Loctite in place because I'm not really too worried about these backing themselves out. These are more just to hold in line and on the bracket. Okay, so that's in place, and that's it for that stuff. So now I just gotta plug everything back up, put everything back together, get the belt on there, and it should be good to go. Right down here. Let me go ahead and put this on there. Now they sent me 2 different kinds of bolts for this, and I'm not really 100% sure which one would go with this. I'm thinking it's this guy, but it might be this guy. You see the difference? One has threads all the way, and one only has threads part of the way. But looking at the inside of this, let me see if I can get it where you guys can see that. Not sure. Looking at the inside of that, the threads, there's that little divot in there where the threads aren't. So I'm thinking it probably was not intended to be done with the fully threaded one. They would both probably work, but yeah. He also sent me 2 washers, and this one seems a bit big, so we're going to use the smaller of the 2, which would be that guy. That's right. Okay, good. I'm going to put a dab of Loctite on this. We'll get that on there. It's basically the parts that are spinning and moving that I'm putting Loctite on. Not too worried about the alternator, like I said. Okay, good. Alright, now for the belt. That's what we got. Okay, that looks much better. And I will be honest with you, this little pin trick really is quite amazing. That worked remarkably well. Made this so much easier. So there. Just gonna press down, pull the pin out, and give it self-tension. That's pretty much all there is to it. Cool. Finish putting these covers back on, and we'll take it from there. You don't really need the pin to put that in there. If you want to try that, drill bit would probably work just as well. Yeah, I'm gonna do that from now on, because that was, wow. So, put the covers back on, put the intake back together, and it should be good to go, as soon as I figure out where I put my screws. Right in here, I did drop them in my box. Oh, good. If I could stop dropping screws, I'd be doing really good. Idle tensioner had a cap on it that I think just keeps the dirt and dust off of there. Alright, so the intake's together. Reconnected the battery. Gone through and checked to make sure that everything's on there that I took off. I don't have any extra parts, which is with the exception of the 2 screws that I bought. So let's fire it up, see what it does. Fingers crossed. Alright, we have absolutely nothing. So we've spent the better part of the day looking at this, trying to figure out why it won't start. And what we came across, I already fixed it, but these wires back here that go to the MAP sensor actually looks like when the belt came loose down here, it must have hit the wires, and 3 of the 4 wires had been stripped and shorted together. So they kind of got wound together by the belt there. You can see right here, it's actually pretty close to the belt. So, and it looks like it broke it off of this clip. So I've got this other little clip here that I'm going to go ahead and take off, reattach it right here where this other clip broke, put it back in place. But unfortunately that did look like it shot out the ECU. So fixed but not fixed. Ordered an ECU that I found on like a salvage site, and should be here in about a week. So to be continued.